Hey everybody, Charlie 2 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, well, we made a false assumption that Beppo somehow snuck into the cabin. It didn't seem to make much sense, and it was the wrong answer, but I think I get what they're trying to get us to do now, so let's continue. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. I've got the answer. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was Magnus Mcgilden. How do we present him? We hit R, that's how. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus Mcgilden. Mr. Mcgilden? What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
He threw the second hallowed chalice into the torches back there. If I desecrate this... Oh, I gotta do my right voice. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Dykes! People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. Don't be racist. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. Mcgilden, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary. But we have no clue who that could be. Order, order, order. What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The slow point. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right, both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter. The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. Mcgilden, would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation? That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah! No, he sleeps. The guy could have got on after he went to sleep and could have left before he woke up. He's right. There was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable, that Mr. Mcgilden would have been unaware of it. Order! There's clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. Mcgilden, to the stand? Yeah, I don't know why he's not to the stand in the first place. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus Mcgilden is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. Mcgilden to testify or not? Yeah, testimony. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. Mcgilden to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. Mcgilden has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. Utterly. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say? Oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. So you're a leader with no confidence in yourself. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Let's hear what he has to say about his lucky charms. This will help us too, because we've had literally no backstory other than what we've uncovered through this testimony here. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Yeah, he went to sleep. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. Mcgilden, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police? Begad, no, 'tis not my nature to hide anything at all. I'm not going to read his Irish accent, I'm sorry. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. Mcgilden? Ellipses. The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true. Aye, and 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. You... what? No, Magnus Mcgilden. That convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry. So I am, Lord Van Zykes. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. Which was? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. And who is this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What? Bang. What? Someone's trying to get away. It's no use. Cough, coughs. Can't see anything to smoke. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. What is going on? Such drama. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. What is going on? It sounded like a gunshot almost, but it must have been like a smoke bomb or something. Save your progress? Why, yes. We're going to bring in the mouse for this one. Hello, mouse. Do it on 3 here. Yes. Save complete. Let's take the mouse away. '18th of February, 12:52 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. I love that word, antechamber. I don't know why I like that word, I just do. I also like vestibule too. There's cool words for like little rooms that are offshoots. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato, I was told it was an advanced form of a smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. Do we have ninjas in this? I'm totally down if we have ninjas in this. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. She was trying to ninja vanish. A young girl? Then could it be? The other passenger that Mr. Mcgilden was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. Mcgilden, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with a young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers at night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence, exactly. But now it seems there are in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. She was a stowaway. I think she maybe was underneath the, in the little tool cubby on the other side, underneath the seat. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Miss Usato. Yes. '18th of February, 1 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Dude still has a knife. Oh, you look like an anime protagonist in like a steampunk RPG. There's the young girl next to Mr. Mcgilden. Look, she must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus Mcgilden. Now then, Lord Van Zykes. My lord. I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? She's not saying anything. What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? Ahem, if I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. Mcgilden? I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place and why she tried to bolt like that. 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. Mcgilden, give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. Ellipses. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. The young girl. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Took the back seat. Okay, so that would be the seat underneath the 2 witnesses. Then begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I set him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Yep. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus, is that correct? 'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. This lass was the 5th passenger, my lord. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Well, let's press him. Cross-examination. The young girl. Man, we only got 2 of those things left. We better be good on this. All right, we're going to press everything on the night in question.
Hold it!
And when you first got into the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were, I see. Aye, and that's why I took the backside as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means, 'tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Then, beggar, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. All right, let's press this.
Hold it!
A loud thud, you say, and a scream? Hey, or aye, that's right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. Yeah, like, you don't want to guess what the sound was. You want to say what you heard. When the sound woke me, I opened my eyes. There wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone? But at the same moment, you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume. Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. There's a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I set him up on the seat across from me. Alright, let's press that.
Hold it!
You set him up? The victim, you mean? That I did, on the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? 'Tis common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. I do too. Ara, Lord Van Zykes, now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no, I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and the wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. The wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes. The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? What did you find?
Hold it!
I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well, now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up, it came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Good gracious. Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubby hole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. We already looked at that. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around the inside. All right, I know you're hinting at it, so let's go ahead and do it. Court record. We'll go ahead and look at it a third or fourth time. I know the seat's there. Yeah, just go in. Don't talk about it. Let's go. It's right here. We've already looked at it, but maybe there's new stuff to say. Seat has a handle, it seems. Oh, now there's nothing in there? There was stuff in here before. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. It wasn't before. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Yeah, there was nothing. There was stuff in here before. This one doesn't have a handle. Somebody came and grabbed their stuff? Can we look at the blood on the floor? We can. We should do that too. I don't think we looked at that. That's blood, isn't it? Something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Zykes has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? This is a different... Is this a different omnibus? I think it is. That's blood soaked in seats, victims obviously, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof. Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. It seems like this is a different omnibus. This is the one that the murder actually happened in, right? Because the one we saw before didn't have the blood in the floor and had stuff in here. So maybe that's why the smoke grenade went off, is so that the real one could be brought in. Let's look up here. It's quite a large skylight. Yes, large enough to afford a good view in the cabin, and there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description, so I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin. And does this lock in here? That's what we need to look at. I'm not seeing a lock. Let's go out. Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside. This is a different cabin. .418. I don't know if the other one said that. Phoenix Wright Omnibus. And we can look at the top. So let's look at the top one more time. See if anything new happens. Is this roof deck of the omnibus? Oh, there must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. Some people said, oh, yeah, this is the same stuff he said before. So I'm going to skip it. Okay. That seems to be a different omnibus. I think evidence has been tampered with while the smoke happened. Okay, yeah, we already did that. And that's when I found her. There was a child in there all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Let's press this.
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, me heart nearly stopped beating in me chest. Ugh, you're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and set her on the opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. The seat opposite. That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You set this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was sitting in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. Presumably, that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. Mcgilden. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, set at the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you. I've heard enough. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.